Good morning, colleagues. I see that we have quorum and I call the meeting to order. Good morning, everyone, and welcome to this meeting of the Standing Senate Committee on National Security, Defence and Veterans Affairs. I'm Tony Dean, Senator from Ontario, the chair of the committee. I'm joined by my fellow committee members who I invite to introduce. A little bit louder? Okay. So I am joined today by my fellow committee members whom I invite to introduce themselves, beginning on my right with our Deputy Chair.
𝐂𝐚𝐧𝐝 from Quebec.
Senator Don Plett, Landmark, Manitoba.
Quebec, Senator Claude Carignan.
Dave Richards, New Brunswick.
Stan Couture, Nova Scotia.
West to Quebec.
Peter Harder, Ontario.
Marty Deacon, Ontario.
Peter Beam, Ontario.
Andrew Cardozo, Ontario.
San Yusuf, Ontario.
Donna Dasco, Ontario.
Thank you, colleagues. And to my left is the committee's clerk, 𝐿𝐴𝐻. We're going to pick up where we left off on Monday evening in our clause-by-clause consideration of Bill C-21, an act to amend certain acts and to make certain consequential amendments, all in relation to the regulation of firearms in Canada. Before we adjourned, we were considering amendments that would see a new clause 45.1 added to the bill. We have a handful of remaining amendments before us and a list of draft observations which you should all have received for discussion later in the meeting. There is one observation outstanding that will be tabled with the clerk today, and it will be considered on Monday, December the 4th, at which time I'm proposing that we would also vote on the bill as a whole. So while we'll complete our clause-by-clause work today, we will have the final vote on the bill as a whole on Monday, together with the consideration of one observation. So that should be a relatively quick meeting. It's my hope that we can also move through these items efficiently today. Once again, we have government officials here to answer technical questions if they arise from Public Safety Canada, Justice Canada, the Royal Canadian Mounted Police, Canada Border Services Agency, and the Canada Nuclear Safety Commission. I'd now like to direct your attention to the next proposed amendment from Senator Boisvenu. Yes?
I would like to just raise a little point, if
Yes.
I might. Thank you very much, and thank you, Mr. Chair, for accommodating the final vote on Monday as well as the observations. But on that note, I would like to just put something in the record, if I could, and I believe just the fact that we could reach an agreement to have the final vote on Monday and our observation speaks to what I want to speak about a little bit. And I'll only take a couple of minutes, Mr. Chair, but I've said this before, and I want to say it again. Before this bill came to the House, the government was already saying that Senator Don Plett and the Conservatives were delaying this bill. Mark Garrison said that was before we even got the bill in the House. We were already delaying it. Yesterday, Chair, during question period in the House of Commons, the Minister of Public Safety again accused on several instances the Conservative senators of delaying Bill C-21. Today's meeting again proves that what the minister said was false. Just for the record, colleagues, Bill C-21 progressed in the Senate in accordance with the schedule negotiated between the Liberal government, the leader of the government in the Senate, and the Conservative opposition. All meetings of the committee were scheduled by consensus between all members of the committee. The Conservative opposition has agreed to have meetings on the Mondays after break weeks, which we all know we need special agreement on, and we have agreed to that. The Conservative opposition has agreed to extend the duration of committee meetings on Mondays to 5-hour meetings, and the Conservative opposition has agreed to use this Veteran Affairs time slot on Wednesdays. And I think the initial agreement was to have only 2, and we agreed to continue in order to bring this bill through to a final vote. As I said, if the committee can meet today, it is because the Conservative opposition agreed to that. At the beginning of the committee study, we agreed to start clause-by-clause consideration on the 27th of this month, which was Monday past, and finish it by December 4th, which you just confirmed. That is still our intent. So, contrary to the disinformation spread by Minister LeBlanc, clause by clause is progressing and should conclude within the timeline agreed to all parties concerned. We all agreed, and we have not stalled this bill at any stage. We presented our amendments. We respectfully agreed with the outcome of every vote. We have raised no points of order. We have progressed in a very amicable way, I believe, Chair, and that's a tribute to your chairing these meetings and Senator 𝐥𝐴𝐚𝐧𝐝 when he was in the chair. So, Chair, I simply wanted to put this on the record, and of course, if you think I am incorrect in any of the comments I made, you would be, of course, free to correct me. But thank you, Chair, for the time, and I'm prepared to continue again as we agreed to move forward with the bill until the final vote, which will be held on Monday. Thank you, Chair.
Thanks, Senator Plett. We'll leave that statement stand as is, and thank you. So let's move on to the next proposed amendment from Senator Boisvenu. The identifier, I understand, is DNP C21-45-50-27.
Thank you, Chair. And Senator Boisvenu has been delayed a bit, so I will do the amendment. And so the amendment is that Bill C-21 be amended on page 51 by adding the following after line 28. 45.1. The Act is amended by adding the following after section 118. 118.1 bracket 1. If a proposed regulation may affect one or more Indigenous groups, communities, or peoples' rights recognized and affirmed by Section 35 of the Constitution Act, 1982, the federal minister must, before the proposed regulation is laid before each House of Parliament under subsection 118 brackets 1, consult with a variety of Indigenous governing bodies and a variety of Indigenous organizations in order to take into account the unique circumstances and needs of those Indigenous groups, communities, and peoples. 2. If subsection bracket 1 applies, the federal minister must include with the proposed regulation laid before each House of Parliament pursuant to subsection 118 bracket 1 a report describing the consultations undertaken. 3. For the purpose of this section, Indigenous governing bodies means a council, a government, or other entity that is authorized to act on behalf of an Indigenous group, community, or people that hold rights recognized and affirmed by Section 35 of the Constitution Act 1982. Indigenous organization means an Indigenous entity that represents the interests of an Indigenous group and its members. Colleagues, this amendment is the same as the one proposed earlier in 122425. However, whereas that amendment proposed to amend the Criminal Code, this amendment amends the Firearms Act. Once again, I think it is useful to repeat what the minister stated when he appeared before a committee. He said, "We engaged with First Nations, Inuit, and Métis organizations, rural and northern communities, victims' rights, and with firearms community and sports persons and sports shooters across Canada to hear their perspectives and to ensure that we respect their traditions and way of life. These consultations have informed our path forward." It turns out that the government did absolutely nothing of the sort. I submit that as parliamentarians we cannot simply look the other way. We had numerous witnesses appear before this committee, including Chief Terry DG of the Assembly of First Nations, Paul 𝐿𝐼n𝐺𝐲, Vice President of Nunavut, Tungavut, and Chief Jessica Lazar of the Mohawk Council of Kahnawake. They all told us the same thing. There were, in fact, no consultations with their people. Will David, Legal Affairs Director of Inuit Teperit Kanatami, was most explicit on the subject of consultations. He said, and I will repeat, put simply, there was none. The minister had reached out and offered, and we reached out and requested, but that consultation never occurred. We're still waiting. Now Indigenous peoples are very concerned about what this means going forward as the government goes into its regulatory process. My amendment simply mandates consultation on any regulation that may affect one or more Indigenous groups, communities, or people's rights as recognized and affirmed by Section 35 of the Constitution Act. This amendment only mandates what the government has itself committed to in the United Nations Declaration of the Rights of Indigenous People. Again, as I say, the government has already committed to doing this, and yet here they are not doing it. I ask you that to send this government at least one clear message and support this amendment. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you, Senator Plett. Questions, discussion, colleagues? I see none. In that sense, is it your pleasure, honourable senators, to adopt the motion in amendment? Okay. Okay. Just to get the formalities out of the way, if a roll call vote is requested by one senator, honourable senators, there's been a request for a recorded vote. I will ask the clerk to name all of the senators present who are entitled to vote at this time.
The Honourable Senator Dean, the Honourable Senator Beam, l'Honorable Sénateur Boisvenu, l'Honorable, oh, je m'excuse, j'annonce les noms.
I'm sorry, I'm just announcing the names.
The Honourable Senator Cardozo, l'Honorable Sénateur Carignan. Let's get a corrected version here. L'Honorable Sénateur 𝐥𝐞𝐧𝐝, the Honourable Senator Dasko, the Honourable Senator Deakin, the Honourable Senator Gold, the Honourable Senator Harder, the Honourable Senator 𝐂𝐚𝐧𝐝, the Honourable Senator Plett, the Honourable Senator Richards, the Honourable Senator Youssef.
Thank you. Colleagues, if any member present does not wish to vote, you may withdraw from the table now. The clerk will now call members' names, beginning with the chair and followed by the remaining members' names in alphabetical order. Members should verbally indicate how they wish to vote by saying yea, nay, or abstain. The clerk will then announce the results of the vote. The chair will then declare whether the motion is carried or defeated. Thank you.
The Honourable Senator Dean.
Nay.
The Honourable Senator Beam.
Nay.
L'Honorable Sénateur Boisvenu.
Oui.
The Honourable Senator Cardozo.
Nay.
L'Honorable Sénateur Carignan, CP.
Oui.
L'Honorable Sénateur 𝐥𝐚𝐽.
Non.
The Honourable Senator Dasko.
No.
The Honourable Senator Deakin.
No.
The Honourable Senator Gold, PC.
No.
The Honourable Senator Harder, PC.
No.
The Honourable Senator 𝐂𝐚𝐧𝐝.
No.
The Honourable Senator Plett.
Yes.
The Honourable Senator Richards.
Yes.
The Honourable Senator Youssef.
No.
Yes, oui, 4, 4, no, non, 10, 10.
Colleagues, the motion and amendment is accordingly defeated, and we move to the next amendment. Oh, sorry, so that gets us to clause 46. Shall clause 46 carry? On division, shall Clause 47 carry? On division, shall Clause 48 carry? Division, shall Clause 49 carry? Shall Clause 50 carry? Division, shall Clause 51 carry? On division, shall Clause 52 carry? On division, shall Clause 53 carry? On division, shall Clause 54 carry? On division, shall Clause 55 carry? Shall Clause 56 carry? Shall Clause 57 carry? Shall Clause 58 carry? Shall Clause 59 carry? Shall Clause 60 carry? Shall Clause 61 carry? Shall Clause 62 carry? Shall Clause 63 carry? Shall Clause 64 carry? Shall Clause 65 carry? Shall Clause 66 carry?
On division.
Shall Clause 67 carry?
On division.
Shall Clause 68 carry?
On division.
Shall Clause 69 carry?
On division.
Shall Clause 70 carry?
On division.
Shall Clause 71 carry?
On division.
Shall Clause 72 carry?
On division.
Shall Clause 72.1 carry?
On division.
Shall Clause 73 carry?
I think we have an amendment here.
Yep.
Senator Bobineau, I think. No?
One is me.
Okay, sorry.
Okay, I'm going to just ask us, we're just checking the identifier. I have DNP-C21-73-67-5. Thank you.
Donc, je propose que le projet de loi
I move that Bill C-21 be amended in Clause 73 on page 67, A, by replacing lines 5 and 6 with the following. 73.1, all provisions of this Act for which no other provisions is made respecting their coming into force other than sections 14.1, 14.2, 46 to 48, and 70 to 73, B by deleting lines 9 to 11, C by adding the following after line 13, 3, subject to subsections 4 and 5 before an order may be made declaring any provision of this Act to be in force, the Minister of Public Safety and Emergency Preparedness must, A, consult with, small I, a variety of Indigenous governing bodies and a variety of Indigenous organizations to determine the effect that the coming into force of the Act will have on the rights of Indigenous groups, communities, or peoples recognized and affirmed by Section 35 of the Constitution Act 1982, and two small i's, all affected stakeholders to determine the effect that the coming into force of the Act will have on the fair market value of firearms acquired by persons legally and in good faith, and B, cause to be tabled in both houses in Parliament a report describing... one moment, please. Cause to be tabled in both houses of Parliament a report describing the consultations undertaken, the submissions received during the consultations, and the measures taken to address concerns raised by stakeholders in their submissions. 4. A report tabled in a House of Parliament under paragraph 3B must on that day, or if a House is not then sitting, on the next day on which that House is sitting, be referred to the House to an appropriate committee, and that House, as determined by the rules of that House, and the committee may consider the report, conduct inquiries, hearings, and report its findings to the House. 5, an order may not be made declaring a section or subsection of this Act to be enforced before the earliest of A, 30 sitting days after the reports referred to the paragraph 3B is tabled, B, 90 calendar days after the report referred to in paragraph 3B is tabled in both houses of Parliament. C, on the day after the day on which each appropriate committee has reported its findings with respect to the report. And 6, the following definitions apply in this section. Indigenous governing body means a council, government, or other entity that is authorized to act on behalf of an Indigenous group, community, or people. that holds rights recognized and affirmed by Section 35 of the Constitution Act 1982. Indigenous organization means an Indigenous entity that represents the interests of an Indigenous group and its members. So, colleagues, clearly the amendment speaks for itself. Its effect would be to oblige the Minister of Public Safety to consult Indigenous organizations with respect to the effect that this would have on their communities and on the Indigenous peoples. And it would oblige the Minister to find out, to determine what the fair market value of the firearms that those people have and would be implicated in this bill. Consultations have to be had, measures have to be taken, and therefore I move in this amendment that the committees who are the appropriate committees of the Senate and the House of Commons be seized with the reports and do the necessary to provide an appropriate response to those reports. I don't want to repeat all the points that have been already made with respect to consultations. Deficient consultations, extremely deficient consultations in terms of this bill. Witnesses, many witnesses, including Indigenous witnesses and others, have spoken to this. I think it's essential that legislative measures guarantee that before coming into force, there be consultations held with Indigenous peoples, and that these consultations must be significant ones. First of all, they have to take place, but they have to be significant in terms of consultation. And we heard from many witnesses that C21 was proposing the purchase and the sale of certain categories of firearms by offering no compensation whatsoever in terms of the financial impact. Many Canadians acting in good faith, whether they be athletes, whether they be sports shooters, are therefore in a position where they run the risk of losing their investments in these items with no compensation. And when we have sports shooters like Linda Kitchko, who is an Olympic athlete, she would lose some $1 million in terms of the investment that she has made in her firearms. And there are firearms collectors, historical ones and others, that including the Director General of the Sports Association of Canada, who indicated that there are some large and small collections, 3 handguns, some that can cost $2,000 or $3,000, and then, as Mr. Macaulay said, there are some collections that can represent some hundreds of thousands of dollars. A collection of $1,000 or $100,000, the federal government should not appropriate these items without compensation. I would hope that, and I feel that upstream there would be compensation for these collections that can be in the millions of dollars. So, colleagues, these are the grounds for the amendment that I have just moved.
Carignan, questions or discussion, colleagues? All right. Is it your pleasure, honourable senators, to adopt the motion in amendment? Recorded vote. I think we should stay consistent. Yes.
The Honourable Senator Dean.
Nay.
The Honourable Senator Beam.
Nay.
L'Honorable Sénateur Boisvenu.
Oui.
The Honourable Senator Cardozo.
Nay.
L'Honorable Sénateur Carignan, CP.
Oui.
L'Honorable Sénateur 𝐥𝐿𝐴.
No.
The Honourable Senator Dasko.
No.
The Honourable Senator Deakin.
Yes.
The Honourable Senator Gold, PC.
No.
The Honourable Senator Harder, PC.
No.
The Honourable Senator Kutcher.
No.
The Honourable Senator Martin.
Yes.
The Honourable Senator Richards.
Yes.
The Honourable Senator Youssef. Yes, oui, 5, 5. No, non, 9, 9.
Colleagues, the motion is accordingly defeated. I don't believe there are any other amendments pending, so I will ask now, shall Clause 73 carry?
On division.
Shall the title carry? Okay, so...
Why not?
Yeah, why not? We'll stay consistent. Yep, united we are divided. As mentioned earlier, colleagues, we will defer until Monday, December 4th, for the vote on whether the bill as amended will carry. And so that concludes our review of amendments. We have some pending work to do on Monday. I now ask, does the committee wish to consider appending observations to the report? Yes, we do. We will then proceed in camera. Are there any objections to proceeding in camera? Okay.
Perfect.